Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at a laptop, yet another ThinkPad. This one I won't be keeping because it has a pretty serious defect that for the price I paid I'm not happy with, so it's going back pretty much after I make this video. But I thought I wanted to show it to you because it's just, you know, it would go well with the ongoing series I'm doing. This is the Thinkpad X220. If you're familiar with the Thinkpad T420, this is the 12-inch version of that laptop. The X series is the 12-inch line of business class laptops that Lenovo has, the Thinkpad series. Now, the difference between the two really isn't that much. They use the same hardware platform, so it's second generation Intel hardware, Sandy Bridge stuff. So you get stuff like HD Graphics 3000. Your 2.5 and 2.6 gigahertz processors, the 2520M and the 2540M. This one has the 2540M in it, like one of my T420s does. So it's a good chip. Now, this laptop in general, let's take a look at it. So what do you get here? Of course, you get your ventilation. You get USB, two USBs on this side. You get VGA. Full-size display port, which is nice to see on an X series laptop. Wireless switch here and an express card slot. Now, one key difference is the speakers are on the bottom on this model. They're right down between on one of this. They're right behind one of these grills here, and of course on the grill over here. They sound rather tinny. They do not sound good at all compared to the T420. And the T520, and the bigger laptops that have them up on the palm rest, they do not sound nearly as good. They introduce a lot more of a harsh treble. But if you don't really require good sound on a laptop and you just want portability, that's fine, because most laptops this size don't have good sound anyway. So, what else can I tell you about this? Oh yeah, on this side you get a Kensington lock. You get the hard drive, the spot where the hard drive goes, and a main difference between this and the T420 is that this takes slim hard drives, similar to the T430. So if you get an X220 thinking it'll be just like a T420, be warned that it actually uses the thinner hard drives. I believe the size is 7mm or something like that. I can't quite remember, but it uses slimmer hard drives. So but if you have a newer SSD or one of those slim HGST hard drives, you should be fine. You get a headset jack here. You get a gigabit Ethernet port, SD card slot, and you get a powered USB port, which unfortunately, as you can see, is completely screwed in this laptop. The piece of plastic that normally hugs the male connector is just completely gone, and you just have pins in there. And that was not mentioned in the listing anywhere, which is why this is going back. It's unfortunate because otherwise the laptop is in pretty good shape. I even cleaned it up and everything, so they're getting back a cleaner laptop. Here's the inside. Looks just like a T420 pretty much, except smaller. It does not have the speakers on the side, but it has the same nice keyboard that the T420 does. I don't think the keyboard's exactly the same. I don't know if you can interchange them. I don't know if the connector's different, but as far as feel and typing, it is the same, more or less. You get the nipple mouse, and unlike the X201, which I did a video of, the trackpad is a lot more Mac-like. You have the whole thing is one button, which I actually don't like as much. I like what they did on the X201 much better, where they had a tiny they had an option for a really tiny trackpad with physical buttons. I generally prefer that over trackpads like this where they're all one button. But honestly, this trackpad, for what it is, it feels pretty darn solid. It feels a lot more solid than the X140E's trackpad did. That thing felt cheap. This doesn't feel cheap, but I still don't like it that much because there's really nowhere to put your thumb that's all that comfortable. So if I were to keep this, I'd end up using the nipple mouse a whole lot more just because it's comfortable. Has a keyboard light, just like the T420 does, so expect similar. It's literally the same keyboard light, so expect, it illuminates the keyboard with a nice softer light that's not harsh on the eyes like it does on most of these. It's pretty nice. Now, I'm sure you guys want to see this run. It came with a working battery, believe it or not. It's supposed to not come with RAM or you know, a hard drive caddy or any of that, but it did come with like a gig of RAM in it. So I'm guessing they left their test RAM in there. They're getting that back. I don't have a use for a 1 gig stick. I'm not going to bother swiping that. That would not be nice. So, I mean, I doubt they care either way, but that's the way the machine was when I got it, so there you go. So we're going to do a test with this machine running. I have used it briefly, just to try it out, and there are some differences between the T420 and this machine. I've laid out a few of those, but one of the most notable ones is the microphone. The microphone in the X220 is so much better than the T420. It's very similar to the microphone that is in the T430, actually. It has a lot more clarity. You don't have to be right in front of it for it to pick you up all that well. It doesn't sound muffled. They improved the microphone quality a whole lot when they designed the X220. So that's a good factor when thinking about getting one of these. Anyhow, let's boot this thing up and actually take a look at it running. Still has a charge on it. Hit F12 here so we can boot up off of a USB stick, just so you can see it run. As you can see, the screen works just fine. This was a for parts to repair laptop that I did not expect to have a bad USB port, so, you know, it's in really nice shape. It's really unfortunate. So let's start this. Let's start Ubuntu on here. It's the Linux I have the most near to me right now, so that's what we're going to use. One thing that's nice about this is these indicator lights down here are a lot less harsh than they are in the T420 as well. They're pretty bright on the T420, and I think even the T410. So it generally, the design on this seems like it's halfway between the T430 and the T420. It's like a bit of a incremental step, which I actually like. That's pretty nice. I like the X220 a lot. I might end up getting one of these again down the road when the supply is better. Because the supply of good working ones is not very high right now because it's January, so unfortunately that's a thing. There you go. Wi-Fi works and everything. It's a good laptop. Very good laptop. So I just wanted to start this up so I could show you the specs, basically. Little slow to show the specs, I think, because of the limited RAM I have in this computer at the moment. Alright, there you go. It has a Core i5 2520M, which is a good chip. I have a T420 with the same chip in it, and you really can't tell the difference. It's a difference of 100 megahertz, so you really can't tell the difference between the two. And I guess unless you're doing something like video editing, but it really doesn't make much difference. The one other difference I've noticed with the T420s I've bought, they have come with Ultimate Wireless N 6300 Centrino Intel wireless cards. This one comes with a 6205 Advanced N wireless, so and that one seems to behave better with this particular version of Debian that I use, which is Debian 8. So that's an interesting thought. When testing it out, I ended up buying one of those cards for my machine that I'm going to use because I was so impressed with it on this machine. And the cards do work. They're not blacklisted by the BIOS. You just have to find the one with the right Lenovo FRU number, and you're good to go. It wasn't that hard. I just had to do some digging to figure out that I had to do that. So the X220, I can't give the most detailed review on it because I haven't had it that long and I have to return it quickly, but I thought I would show you guys this thing and just give you my impressions of it. I personally think it's a wonderful machine. Even my experience even with this broken one has made me very much want to get an X220 that works. I don't want to buy a broken one. There is another one with broken VGA, and I think all they mean is that the screw just isn't in there. There just isn't a VGA screw, but I might get that, but it seems kind of pointless when I have a bunch of Sandy Bridge hardware already. I don't know. I think I just need to wait until there's more on the market, and then I'll have to take a second look, maybe. I don't know, but I can tell you one thing. The X220 is a fantastic machine. It is basically a miniature T420 with it's basically a miniature T420. However, the differences are mainly that the speakers are tinier and it takes slim hard drives. That's about all you need to know about one of these before buying one. It's a very nice machine. It's pretty well built. Feels pretty solid. Not as solid as the X201 did. The X201s felt like an absolute tank. This feels less so, but it still passes. It's still passable. It's still pretty resilient, I think. So, as far as 12-inch laptops go, the X220 is also, just like the T420, a last of its kind. It's the last that uses one of the traditional ThinkPad keyboards, which is another main reason I would like to get one eventually. At least to get another one at some point. Good machines. Very good machines. Maybe I'll get another one at some point. I'll figure that out. But for now, this thing has to go back so I can get my money back. So that was a brief look at the X220. Overall, I think it's an excellent machine. These Sandy Bridge laptops are really, really good machines. So, you really can't go wrong with them. They're just resilient, reliable, dependable machines. And the X220 is no exception to that. And there you have it, folks. Kind of a hastily done video, but I wanted to give you guys my impressions of this before I had to go back. So, there you have it. Hope you guys enjoyed it nonetheless, though, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.